On Wednesday, February 19th, 2025, I went down to the New Jersey side of the Delaware River to photograph the SS United States leaving Philadelphia. She had been docked at Pier 82 in Philly since 1996. Now, I took a bunch of equipment with me. I got a little carried away. My Nikon Z8 with the 70-200 2.8 on a heavy-duty tripod to do some video. I also took my D810 with the 70-200 F4, my Z6 with the 24-200 Z mount, and I even took a Nikon F2AS loaded with a roll of Ektachrome 100. Now, it was a fairly cold day on the river, and this departure had been delayed several times for various reasons, and they needed to have her pass under the Walt Whitman Bridge and several other bridges at low tide, so she was scheduled to leave around 1 p.m. on the 19th. So here's some video I shot with the Z8, and you can see the tugboat in the background there spraying water. And we're going to be looking at a combination of some still images like this one shot with the 70-200 on the D810, and then some video kind of thrown in, mixed in, and then towards the end it'll be mostly still images. So that large tug in the front there is what is towing her all the way down to Alabama, where I believe some components in the engine will be removed, and the engine compartment and some other hazardous materials will be removed, and then she will be sunk off the coast of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico. So here you see her moving towards the Walt Whitman Bridge. In the background, that bridge in the background is the Ben Franklin Bridge in Center City, Philadelphia. And there were a lot of people there at this spot. I had scoped this location out previously, thought it was a great location because you would be able to see the ship coming under the bridge. And there, just out of frame at the top, there is the Walt Whitman Bridge. And the issue and the reason why she needed to go at low tide is the ship is very tall, and even at low tide, there would only be 6 feet of clearance from the top of the funnels to the Walt Whitman Bridge. So they closed the bridge temporarily as she passed. A lot of tugboats, pretty exciting day. And we were sad to see her go. She's been a fixture on the riverfront since, like I said, 1996. And every time you go over the Walt Whitman Bridge, you can see her. I live in New Jersey, but travel to Philly a lot and look out the right side window, and there she is, but no more. The ship has really deteriorated over the years. She was just sitting at Pier 82 in Philly all that time. And if you'd like to see the way she looked in her glory days, just do a Google search. There's plenty of images of the SS United States from the 50s and 60s. And it was a beautiful ship. Holds the record for fastest crossing of the Atlantic, which was done in 1952. And I believe that was her maiden voyage. And she was based out of New York City. So here you can see the tugs alongside, and as she passes the Walt Whitman Bridge. The ship is 990 feet long, 100 feet longer than the Titanic. Massive ship. And it was pretty hard. And I'm shooting here this video with the 70-200 on the Z8. And obviously you could see I couldn't get the whole ship in. So on my Z6, I had the 24-200, and I'm glad I did because I was able to get the whole ship in as she passed, and you'll see that in a little bit in some of the still images. But I needed to shoot at almost 24 millimeters. I believe it was set to 25 millimeters to get the entire ship in. And she still looked graceful as she went down the Delaware River. Now she was going to travel out the Delaware River, as you saw, went under the Walt Whitman, then to go under the Commodore Barry Bridge, and one final bridge before she headed out to the Atlantic, which would be the Delaware Memorial Bridge. And then down the coast, past Florida, onto the Gulf to Alabama, where she, again, would be, a lot would be removed before she would be sunk off the coast of Florida and become the world's largest artificial reef. And these other couple tugboats you see, we're just kind of traveling around. The one in the front with that white, almost looks like a lighthouse. That is, I believe it's like a 5,600 horsepower tug that was doing the towing. And some of these other tugs were just there to kind of say goodbye to the SS United States. I know at least one of them was from Cape May, New Jersey. Okay, so now we're going to primarily be looking at still images as she passed under the bridge. And you could see the deterioration of the paint and its rust. Once proud lady, America's flagship, once again on the move. So I shot a bunch here as she proceeded, varying my focal length, shooting wide to include the whole ship, trying to zoom it in a little bit to get some more detail. There were actually some people on the ship, and you probably can't tell in these images. But here's one that I believe was at like 25 millimeters as she was kind of passing right by me. Now, at this point, I remembered I had the F2. I had the Z8 on the tripod. I had, which was the Bogan 3051, a real heavy duty tripod. And I figured I needed that because it would be breezy there. And I had the, as I said, the D810 with the 7200, and primarily most of these pictures were shot with the 24 to 200 on the Z6. But I remembered my F2, which I had in a bag, so I quickly reached for it and fired off a few frames, and I haven't had that film processed yet. And here you can see some people, a lot of people there were taking pictures, both professional photographers, news media, radio, newspaper, everything was there. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I usually publish a new video every Monday morning and Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And here she is as she disappeared from you, started to disappear from view, and these were at 200 millimeters. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.